Woohoo! And we're live once again on another Tuesday, and I have a repeat guest in the house today, Anna Bravington. She's been on the show before, and we're talking about something new today. But Anna, before we get stuck in with our topic, please introduce yourself, and then I'll tell everybody what we're talking about today.
So I'm Anna, co-founder of Those That Dare, which is a marketing strategy agency in the UK. We craft marketing strategies that both your audience and C-suite will love. It's my new messaging, so I'm trying to memorize it.
Woohoo! Woohoo! I love it. I love it. It's great. It's great. And we're talking today about the power of community to write a book because Anna is really excited because she has just co-authored this book, which is called The Most Amazing Marketing Book Ever. I don't know if anybody can see it, but it is exciting because it just got launched like a week ago, and just the marketing, the book, everything that's gone into it, it is just a wonderful testament of how to write a book, how to tap into community. So let's talk about just some of the basics first, Anna. So basically we have 36 authors across 10 countries, who knows how many time zones, because like people move around. All of a sudden they go on a vacation to America. Now what time zone are they in? So you've got people in multiple places all coming together, writing this book. So first of all, can you tell us about the community that's behind this in the first place?
So this is from Mark Schaefer's Rise community, which started off as a community using Web3 technology, NFTs, and to be part of the community, you had to earn NFT tokens and then sort of buy your way into the community. It was a really fun way of sort of gamifying the community, and we all came together through this method of a bunch of marketeers and sort of people in surrounding areas that just loved sort of technology, exploring. We were really curious, and I came on. Oh, it would have been just over a year ago when I met Mark when he came to Bournemouth, where we're located, and it was really lovely because we've become really close, and we've been doing lots of things together, metaverse and uh, all these different events, and suddenly this idea sparked about doing a book, and we thought, oh, this sounds great, we can do it all together. And it came together really quickly because I've only been on the community, yeah, like I said, just over a year, and I think we started probably only a month or so after that. So it's come together really quickly and fast. So we've been on this downhill ski slope of ready for launch.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And so did everyone in the community participate in the book or just some of the people?
No, it wasn't everyone. So we've got quite a large community. Some people just didn't have the time or just didn't feel strong. They hadn't got felt they got the skills, the writing skills. Not all everyone is writers in the book though. We had lots of amazing editors from the community that helped anyone that wasn't feeling confident with writing to just
Mm.
help them. There was no prerequisite of you must have a certain writing skill level, you must have a certain knowledge. We all just loved our certain areas that we talked about, so it made it really nice to see people that maybe hadn't voiced much on social or something. You heard from them for the first time, which was wonderful. And it was really nice because we were all cheering each other on. I'm a
Mm.
writer and I struggle to write my chapter because there's so many people doing the book, and I didn't want to let a single person down. I wanted to make sure that everyone was and I know a lot of others felt this way as well. We were like, this is Mark's book, this is our community book, we want to make sure it's good. So we were just cheering each other on, making sure that everyone was really confident doing it. And it was weird because it just sort of started as a list of Mark and some of the other guys had put a list of topics that what topics does people want to talk about, and we'd had this massive list and we just put our name against them. Because I came on quite late, um, I chose experiential marketing because it was an unusual one and not everyone had done it. So I
Right?
thought, oh, I'll just I'll put my name down because I've done experiential marketing when I worked in gaming, and I thought, oh, and a couple of other places. I thought, oh, that might be an interesting one to do. Bit out of my comfort zone, but it was a fun one.
I love that. I love that. And I think that this is such a wonderful example. It's actually a wonderful example of so many things, but I love the
Mhm.
idea that here you're encouraging people who have never written before. So it wasn't
Mhm.
elitist. And to me, that's what a community does. And I thought it
Mm.
was kind of really appropriate taking a step back. And I remembered that Mark Schaefer, I've read a couple of his books, and he's a great writer. He's a great marketer, and he's just got so much to share. But I remember one of his last books he finished was about community. And I believe it was called Belonging to the Brand. And it was the
Yeah.
power of community and this whole idea that it's like, this is kind of like the last marketing strategy, of people joining communities. And you think about, like, we're living in this digital world here. I'm in the United States, you're over across the pond. So, here we are. We have got to know each other through a different community and through the
Yeah.
LinkedIn community and Expresso Plus and all sorts of other things. And I love that it's like the community you've tapped in, and it's not an elitist, like, oh, only the cream of the crop get to write. And, you have to
Mm.
apply. And, like nowadays things can get kind of snooty. And so here's an opportunity where I think in everybody's heart of heart, we all want to write a book. And we all feel there's a book in us, which there probably is a book inside of everyone. Maybe some people need help with getting it extracted, but I think
Mm.
we all have something to contribute. And I love that these people who are part of this book experience with you may not ever have achieved that goal. And now they can go, I did it. I pushed myself. I did it. And you can tell by reading the book, these are not regurgitated blog posts. Like it
Mm.
comes across as somebody took their topic, they really use their expertise to write about it. And I love that you held hands and helped each other to write this book. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was such a lovely experience. I think that was part of it for me. It wasn't just about writing a book because I have always wanted to write a book. I've got about 12 half-finished books. And and it was about the experience of going through this with some people that I really adore, and they are experts in their topics, whether it's just talking about it on Rise or in their job, and by expert, I don't mean that we're like the pinnacle. It's more that passion side of it, the real love of this topic. I'm certainly probably not the foremost person of experiential marketing in the world, but I really adore it and that community focus that it brings. And we just wanted to write with passion, and we had this lovely format that Mark had put together to make the book nice and consistent with the 10 tips for each one, which made it nice. It gave us a guide to bring it in together for those that hadn't written blogs or chapters before. It gave them a template. Mark even wrote his one first and sent it round to us so we could see
Mm.
sort of what he was looking for. So it was really nice. It was a very guided experience, and it was and great. I mean, I didn't know all of what was behind a book, particularly the Amazon side, and trying to get it published, self-published. The formatting, everything that it needed to go through. And I think, a lot of us, if we'd have experienced that for the first time without this group behind us, we'd have been like, oh my goodness, this is so complex.
Exactly.
So
Ex-
it was, even not just writing, it was even the bit afterwards. What should we write on social? What should we talk about? It was every step was guided and everyone was helping each other out.
Love that. Love that. And I guess this would be my question. So having someone like Mark that kind of served as the team leader and said, because he not only is an excellent marketer, but he's an author. He's had multiple, best-selling books. So would you say that to do a community project like this, to write this book as a community, you did need to have that leader that said, come on, kids, hop in the
Yeah.
truck. I'm going to show you how it is. And giving you that sort of, um, roadmap of how do you get this book, because it's not just about the writing, like you said, it's the Amazon, and it's the marketing. And I don't even know if we're going to have time to talk about the marketing, but the marketing you're all doing for this is like amazing too. So you must
Yeah.
have that leader, correct?
I think so, and it doesn't have to, or it could be. I think it would work if you're not in a group like with Mark. If you're in a group where you haven't got a leader as much, having like a committee or somewhere that's just guiding the project, because a lot of projects, community projects can just go off key because it's a bit, sometimes they use the term herding cats, don't they? Where you're trying to get everybody going in the same direction. And I always use the description of like a peloton in cycling, where you've got the leader and you're kind of all in their slipstream afterwards, and you're all doing your own pedaling and you're all sort of heading your own way, but that person is just pulling you along. And I think, if it hadn't had Mark for this book, and pushing us, or if he didn't have time, delegating it to some of his team. So he had a couple of the team that Cami, who has been running a lot of the marketing side of it and doing all our emails, right, team, this is what we're going to do. So some of it has had others on the side that have been helping pull us all together. You do need that sort of people at the top to say, right, this is next, this is next, this is a deadline, because we were all terrible at deadlines, handing them in the last minute.
Right.
So you do need that. Otherwise, it could take about 12 years to do.
I could see that. I could see that. And I think even if you didn't have somebody who already was an established author and knew how to do
Mm,
everything, just having sort of a team captain, or probably the more
mm,
appropriate word in business would be a project leader, and then the committee, because I think a lot of times one person trying to do everything is way too much, because that's like a full-time job in
yeah,
itself. But like you said, if you have somebody that says, okay, I'm going to be in charge of the emails, and somebody takes on, I'll do the cover, somebody else takes on and says, okay, I'm going to organize some events and the web page. And I was amazed that, like, for your launch of your book, that you use Canva, and you had a Canva website, and I knew Canva did websites, and that was the first time I ever saw a Canva website as, like, the sort of the landing page for the book and the events and the live streams. And you
yeah,
did, I'm going to slip it in because I thought it was amazing, a 24-hour live stream
yeah.
in itself is a big thing.
It's huge. And once again, so Ian Anson Gray, he hosted that because he had a Restream account and he knew a lot about streaming. So it made sense for him to host that, rather than one of us like Mark or someone signing up to account. And then Canva was used because um someone else knew how to do a Canva site, and they said, "Oh, I'll own this part of the project." So there was lots of different people that took on ownership of different parts of the project. So you'll see these different technologies of who, someone preferred this technology and someone likes this one, and this is what they're comfortable with, because it wasn't about forcing people out of their comfort zone. It was about using the skills of the group that were already there, which was perfect. And I've been doing some podcast pitching, because I love, I used to be an XPR as well, so I like telling people about things and trying to drum up some interest. So we all did our sort of like strengths and played on those as well, which when you've got 36 people, there tends to be a lot of different strengths in there to use.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that is smart, because if you think about a community, it's like it's all the different, you if you look to your community, it's the different strengths that people have. And it's like, oh, I
Mm,
didn't even know that thing existed. Somebody might say, hey, we can track the whole thing in Evernote because I'm an Evernote specialist. And and I know you actually have somebody on your committee that loves Evernote. And so you just kind of look at all the different things that it's like, that to me is the strength of a community, because kind of 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2, it equals 3. It's like
mm,
exponential and does so much more. So that's just
yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. So how did you what was I wanted to know? Oh yeah. So I noticed that your book is there's lots of chapters because everybody did their chapter. And yet I like that it's structured and it's not just like, oh, it's just 36 chapters willy-nilly, that there's actually a flow to it. So did you guys design the book so it could kind of be read, you could go to one topic and go through that as opposed to cover to cover?
Yeah, it's supposed to be snackable. So we've got the sort of different sections. So you've got the different chapters, and then you've got the sort of parts looking at sort of present and then future, which I'm part of. And it's sort of, once we had this huge list of chapters, and some of them got dropped toward it before we actually started on the book, and just sort of it was jigged into, these kind of make sense together, these kind of make sense, so that we had a flow initially. And then the idea was that the 10 ideas means that it just makes it, or you can dip in and pick out 10 ideas for email marketing if you're struggling that day, or if you want to know about Web3 and you just want to pop in and find out about that. Because you'll find that some people might know a couple of the subjects but not all of them, so they might be more, I really want to know about this subject right now, and they can just dip in and out easily. And the way it's structured with the sort of easy to navigate contents and everything just makes it so snackable. And it's designed, for sort of business owners and for sort of marketeers that maybe are newer or just haven't got experience of all the topics. So it's quite a broad amount of people that are going to be reading it. So we wanted it to be nice and easy for anyone that just wanted to dip in and out. Or, I mean, I am reading it cover to cover because I'm really excited about it.
Yes, yes, I can imagine. I can imagine, and there's so much information there, and it's not necessarily a quick read, and I don't mean that in a negative. In that, like when I've read the couple chapters that I've read, I've done a lot of highlighting. So I'm really
Mm.
glad that I got the Kindle version because I can just highlight with my finger and I just go through and highlight. But there was like, oh, I didn't know that. And I come from a marketing background. So this isn't
Yeah.
necessarily for newbies. So actually, let me
Mm.
just ask you that. Who do you think is the target market for this book?
It's an interesting one. For me, I think that it's someone that has an interest in marketing. I don't think there's a level to it. I think it's more about that they want to broaden their knowledge of the different areas of marketing. So you may be that you've sat in a specialism for a while and you want to sort of broaden out. It might be that you're new and you want to say, oh, what else is around? What else could I do? Because what I always, when I've had young team members, is don't stick to just one specialism, learn. Might be a business owner that thinks, well, what are my options? When I was doing content, people used to always come to me and go, oh, I need some content, we want a blog. And it was always a blog first, with no rhyme or reason of why it was a blog and what they needed. So the people that maybe want to explore the different diverse options of marketing rather than getting stuck into what everyone else does, and that this is what we've always done, we must have a blog because everyone else has got a blog. I love a blog, but it's not always right for everyone. And so I think it's that, having a look at the depths of ideas. I did a content marketing chart. I think it was last year, and it was something like 84 different types of content that you could have. Because people have always asked me about the same content, and it was one of my most viral posts because people
Mm.
hadn't thought about the different types of channels, the different types of marketing, the different types of technology that they and ways that they could implement them. It was always a social post, a blog, maybe a YouTube video, and I've sort of just decided to put this 84 pieces together of an idea of how we could mix them up. So I think it's for people that are looking to broaden their horizons a little bit. Even me, I mean, I've been marketing 25 years. There's some of these areas that I don't know. So it's I've got a little guest behind me. So so anyone watching live, sorry, that's my son.
It's okay. It's okay. We know Oscar.
Well, it is funny whenever I'm on a video with my colleague, she always has a cat bottom in place. So I have a son in place. So for me, it's about, yeah, people that want to expand that, getting away from the basics, the sort of very staple things that actually may not be right for your business or for the business you're working
Mm.
for. And and just broaden yourself out a little bit, I think.
I love that. I love that. And I think it's sometimes, I think from a marketing perspective, you don't know what you don't know. And there's so much out there. So for instance, I don't know any of the future stuff. Like when you talk about the metaverse and Web3 and
Yeah.
NFTs, and I'm
Yeah.
like my brain doesn't get that, but it doesn't mean that it's not something I should at least, maybe if I don't embrace it, it's a good thing for me to at least understand and know about. So,
Mm.
it's a good way to have that inkling. But then there was basic strategy too of like how to do market
Yeah.
research and all the basics, how to do video, which of course, I'm always a big fan of. One thing that I thought was really amazing was I just as an example or as a little exercise for myself, I wanted to know how many of you were on LinkedIn because I know several of the authors of the book and I know that they're on LinkedIn. So I actually decided I'd go check and everyone is on LinkedIn. And I thought that was amazing. I was just like, yay, that's great for being part of the podcast because everybody's on LinkedIn. But it was good because actually so much in marketing, you always kind of like they talk about Twitter, they talk about Facebook, Instagram, and then you're like, what about LinkedIn? Like they just ignore it in so many other realms. But anyways, I just
Yeah.
thought that was a really kind of cool trivia thing that every single one of you is on LinkedIn.
Well
I don't
done,
know if
team.
you are all on every channel, but I thought that was really cool that you're all on LinkedIn. So I love that.
Yeah, I think everyone's quite marketing forward in the group. Even if it's not part of their day job, they like being part of sort of online communities and to join in. So to me, that makes sense that we would be all on there, where we're all interested, we're curious. It's a term that is used quite often in our group. Of We're all very curious about what's going to happen in business and technology. So LinkedIn is the place to go really for that, isn't it? It's a wonderful network where you can really
Absolutely.
start absorbing what's going on in the world.
Absolutely. And speaking of network, I'm popping over to our comments because we have some wonderful people joining us today on the live. And we just love that people, that's to be the beauty of a LinkedIn Live is bringing in the community who is joining us in the live. So I think that's awesome. So we have Jeff Young, greetings from the front row. Jillian and Anna have a great what a great topic. Namaste, namaste. Debbie says, hello from sunny South Florida. Woo-hoo-hoo.
Oh, hi,
Oh,
Debbie. I just met a Debbie and she's lovely. I got a lovely voice note from her. Great to have you on here.
it's lovely how we all stay connected. And I actually sent a note of congratulations to every single author of this book because I think this is a big deal. Because whether you've written a book before or this is your very first time out of the gate, writing a book, it's an incredible way that leads to your credibility. So I think this is,
Mm.
it's like the gateway drug, doing a book like this. You're probably all going to be hooked and you'll be writing forever. So that was something I did.
Absolutely.
Marcia from Washington, she says, greetings, Gillian Whitney and Anna Bravington. I plan on writing my memoir. So see,
Ooh.
isn't it wonderful that books, it's like when somebody writes a book, it's like, I think it just kind of like we pay it forward because somebody goes, I need to get cracking and write my book. And so,
Yeah.
and for anybody who's sitting there saying, oh, I'm too nervous to write a book by myself, maybe this is what you needed to hear today, that it's the power of holding hands with somebody else, whether it's one person or 36. This is a way that you can, get those ideas out into the world. So I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. And everybody always visits on my LinkedIn lives. I love it. I love it. They're just chit-chatting back and forth. Okay.
Oh.
Do. Okay, we have Annette Richmond. She's in New York, New Jersey area. Woohoo! No, Connecticut, actually. Sorry, she's in Connecticut. Woohoo! Let's get this party started. I love this. And of course, you probably have all the Espresso Plus peeps that are cheering you on, because communities love communities. So, and it's interesting.
Yeah.
Mark Schaefer is John Esperian's mentor, so everybody's all related. They're all related.
It's so
So,
funny. My communities are linked because there's several authors that are in the Espresso Plus community, but also there's several in the You Are the Media community over here as well. So there's all these sort of incestuous, in a good way, communities where we're all know each other and we're like, oh, there's so and so from the other community. So it's really nice seeing the sort of familiar faces around and getting invited to different communities. I really love that. And I think my communities are my favorite thing in the entire world. I
well,
adore them.
they connect us. They connect us. And if you
Yeah.
think about it, it's like we're kind of in a time where, there's so much social media that's just like sort of yelling. It's a one-to-many thing where it's like people are just posting something and we're just supposed to consume it. And that can leave you feeling very, very lonely. And, we're
Mm,
on the very end of May, and this was Mental Health Month. And these are the kind of things where you think about, it's like community is not only helping us with our businesses, but I'm in personal communities that help me with my personal stuff in terms of personal goals and projects and talents that I want to develop that have nothing to do with my
mm,
business. I just go to them for pleasure. But I'm amazed at how communities are taking off, whether it's professional, personal, because I think as we're more and more connected, we're actually less connected. So we feel very isolated all on our little, Wi-Fi things. So we need the Zooms, we need parties like this where
mm.
we're brought together, communities and groups. And, I think it's just the way to go. And my favorite place too. My favorite place too.
Yeah, I
So,
think so, with remote working as well being really popular
mm,
now. I work from home. Me and my colleague both work. She lives in the next town along. And sometimes, we will speak to each other, but not to anyone else in the day. So, jumping on somewhere like this and talking with you, Gillian, it's amazing. This is a highlight of my day. I've had a great time and I'm chatting and talking about something I love. And it just makes it's literally highlights my week and makes my week seem less, like you said, less lonely. And and just get out there and meet people. It's wonderful.
I agree. I agree 100%. Fran says hi from Stevensville Village in Richmond, BC. So we've got Canadians in the house as well. So always wonderful that we have that. And we have Catherine Ledger. Greetings to two awesome ladies from warm and sunny UK. I'm glad you guys have some warm and sunny weather today there. Yay.
Finally, finally.
Yes. And Catherine is another Espresso Plus community. So it's just, again, it's just so wonderful. And here she is in the UK. So I love that. It's part of your
Yeah,
world as well. And then we have John Esperian, the lovely John Esperian, who we actually got to know each other through John. And he says, hi,
yeah.
both. Lovely to see Anna get involved in this book. Well done for getting it over the line. Because that's got to be the biggest part of a book. And I just have to ask you that,
Mm.
Anna, did you guys plan the release date and then you work towards it? Or that's always what I wonder about when people are writing books.
Yeah, Mark had a rough date in mind when he set the deadline. So if we get this done by here, then we need to edit and then we need to do this. Because he was familiar with the process, because there's things such as the audible recording, which is in the process of getting
Ooh.
approved at the moment. So that's the other thing to look out for. There's an
Ooh.
audible recording which has us all reading our own chapters, which was the scariest part of this whole thing. And I had to go to a guy down the road who was a professional recorder so that he could help me and coach me through it. I mean, you'd think, I mean, it's a chapter and I think it's about 1,400 words. You would not think it took many takes. I think it was about 40 something takes I took during mine.
Oh my
But there's some love.
goodness.
I'm terrible at talking when I'm under pressure. And then there's some wonderful, if anyone gets a book authors on their LinkedIn, there's wonderful ones of people with towels over their heads recording it, and what someone recorded theirs in a closet because it was quieter. There's amazing stories about how we recorded these books, and it's brilliant. I think that's part of that journey was absolutely hilarious, and one of my favorite pieces. And you'll see, people from 10 countries, different accents, all in the same audiobook. So that's going to be, I can't wait to hear it.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. And, to be honest with you, you could almost have a book about the book. Like you could go now and just say the lessons learned from making this book, because I'm sure that like where you were, like if you just say a year ago before the book was even, a glint in anyone's eye. And I don't know if that the timing is right, but you think about where you are today with the knowledge that you've gained through your own personal experience and tapping into the community and the lessons you've learned. It's almost an internship on how to write a book. And this could be a master class in itself, how to write a book as a community. So all sorts of great ideas. Sorts of great ideas.
And for Mark's next book, I'd love him to write that. It would be amazing.
You heard it here, folks. We birthed this idea. I love it. I love it. Okay, so we've come to the end of our 30 minutes. It always just goes zooming past. Is there any sort of last takeaway that you'd like to share with the power of community to write this book that you'd like to share with everybody today?
I think it's about not thinking that you have to tackle everything on your own. That it doesn't have to be as big as a big book, it could be blog posts, or I've got a great example of when I first joined John Spear's Espresso Plus group, and I was terrified of video, and I got to do videos. He did, I think it was 3 truths and 1 lie, and we all did videos to encourage us to do videos, and just trying to get over those hurdles together. If it's a book, if it's video, if it's writing, they're such safe places to experiment and try things out. So for me, it's about using your communities together to overcome your hurdles and feel like you're not alone and doing this on your own.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Well, Anna, thank you so much for being here today, sharing your passion, sharing your knowledge and some of the great lessons learned. And we encourage everybody to check out Amazon. The book is titled "The Most Amazing Marketing Book Ever," and it's a good one, folks. It's a good one, folks. So. And if you've already bought it, please consider writing a review, because just knowing those Amazon reviews, they really help other people find the book, and social proof is everything. So, really helps if you do that. So thank you for joining us, Anna. Thank you everybody for joining us as well. And we look forward to next week for another LinkedIn Live with Gillian and friends. Okay. Bye, everybody.